Hi, this is John Barnes, and you're listening to Cop On.
Welcome to Kop On podcast, you watery coconut. My name's Owen. I'm delighted to be joined by Douglas from the Dugout Football Channel and by Faye Greaves. After Fulham have annoyingly beaten Liverpool 3-2, or rather, Liverpool have beaten themselves 3-2, because there's something in football. I'm going to just dive straight into it, Douglas, about making mistakes and things like that. Every single goal that your team concedes, you can look at and point at the mistakes. I mean, that's something that, certain pundits have made careers out of, just moaning. And I don't want to moan, because I think overall we deserved at least a point from that game, as bad as the first half was. But Douglas, let's start with just how annoyed you are that we kicked it away. We kicked the ball straight to Fulham. How annoyed you are at that first half performance?
Yeah, well, good evening, everybody. I hope everyone is well, and obviously not too disappointed by the result today. Defensive horror show. I think that's how you can describe it. All three goals were avoidable, completely avoidable. I think when we look back as well, I think you've got to say the way that we started the game. I thought Fulham for like the first couple of minutes started more the more brighter team. Obviously, they had the penalty shout with Kelleher into Pereira, which I think looking back on, I think we got away with one there. I think the one with Van Dijk and Munoz together, I don't think that is a pen, because I think they're just two coming together, and then I think that almost sort of woke us up. Almost. Obviously, McAllister, very, very good finish from him. Absolutely stunning goal. I think we're very thankful that he was actually on the pitch today, considering that horrendous challenge by James Tarkowski in the Merseyside derby. And then after that, we just completely fell asleep. The first goal is completely avoidable. Um, I'm going to say this once. I think Kanati had his worst game in a Liverpool shirt today. I think you look at the first sort of 5 minutes, he was really, really sloppy. Obviously allowed, as I said, Fulham into that position where Pereira got to the ball, and obviously Kelleher came out for that. First goal completely misjudges the height of the ball, and I think it almost sort of sparks Curtis into almost making a split second decision, like tried to clear the ball. He should have done a lot better. But I think with Kanati trying to obviously head the ball, obviously getting in his way, I think that kind of put Curtis off a bit. And to be fair to Ryan Sis, it's a very, very good finish. Second goal, absolutely Robbo's mistake. Now I'm Robbo's biggest fan, as everybody knows, because obviously, being a Scotsman, obviously Scottish captain, but that was horrendous. I think we're told that when we play football, never ever play a ball across your own box if you're a defender. What does he do? Plays it straight to Iwobi. And actually, to add insult to injury, he actually had the final touch. It actually went off him into the back of the net from from Iwobi's shot. So, yeah, add insult to injury, and then the third goal again. I've seen people say that Muniz probably fouled Van Dijk, but I think Van Dijk's got to be a lot stronger. I honestly think that the whole back line today had an absolute horror show. I thought Kanati and Van Dijk were dreadful. Robbo was dreadful. And actually, when you look at it next season, I don't think we go into next season with Robbo our starting left back, because I think he'll be a very, very good enough squad player. But I think we've seen all through this season that he looks like he is declining, which is really, really worrying. And I think left back is a major, major. We have to sign somebody there, because I don't think we can go into next season with Robbo as our starting left back.
I mean, it's a great summary of the game, and there's so much that we can talk about from there. But it was, yeah, really good. I totally agree with you with all of your points there. Totally agree. Hey, what are your overall impressions? I mean, we were just talking before we started recording, and you said that you were really upset with the commitment, right, of the players. It doesn't look right.
Yeah, and yeah, hi everyone. Yes, I agree, Owen. For me, and I'm looking at the games that we've played since the Plymouth game, because I really feel, I mean, a lot of people might have said, oh, well, we didn't need that game. You know, we didn't need to be in the FA Cup. That was a distraction, etc. for the Champions League. Let's remember that was a distraction. But like I believe is it's all about momentum. And the way we lost that game, the Plymouth game, you know, yes, we had a second string team out, but I really and truly believe that we should have won it still. I don't care what anyone says, you know, we're bottom of the league, Plymouth, of their league, and we should have won it with second team, third team, whatever. So straight away, we're out of the FA Cup at a big stage, you know, going into the quarterfinals. Then sadly, we had the PSG game where we were knocked out of the Champions League on penalties, remember? Yeah. Then we go to Wembley, and, you know, Wembley's our second home. You know, they call it South Anfield. We go there and put in a dismal performance. I was there, and honestly and truly, we never looked like scoring at Wembley. Newcastle were absolutely deserving of it. So we lose that match. And then sadly, I just think from then onwards, we've not really looked as if we've been at the races. You know, with the games that we've won have been just won them. You know, I know we beat Everton and that's a big match. We beaten them 1-0 at any time, but it's not looked convincing. I mean, I just think that, yes, you can put it down to tiredness and we've played lots of matches, but today showed me that I know people keep saying this isn't an outstanding Liverpool team, and like Doug said, the defense today was shocking. I even wrote down Van Dijk wobbly. I never would have thought I'd have ever said Van Dijk being wobbly. Konate, I don't know what's happened with him. Robbo, I absolutely adore Robbo. You know, the 2020 when we won the Prem, he was one of my star players, but now he's definitely on a decline. The midfield, I'm glad we've had McAllister today because I thought he was the liveliest I've put in the midfield. Him and even young Elliott when he came on was really good in the midfield. There's not a lot to say because Diaz looked good as well, but sadly Diaz doesn't look sometimes that good when he starts. It's a bit like Jota. I'm beginning to think Jota looks better coming off the bench than starting. It's just, I don't know, and I don't want to be down on Liverpool because, my God, you know, they're 11 points clear and we should all be doing somersaults. But about 6 weeks ago, we had 4 trophies we were going for. Now it's 11 points and the Prem, which, you know, I don't know. I don't sound positive. I know we're going to win the Prem, but I feel that we should have probably been going for the double or treble at least. And I just think it's, I don't know, bad management, I suppose.
Bad management. I mean, it's very interesting you should say that, yeah, because I did some research just before we pressed record, and the Plymouth game, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right to pinpoint that as a bit of a turning point in the season, including the Plymouth game. Faye, we've played 12 matches, including today, from Plymouth to today against Fulham. And in those 12 matches, I looked at the stats on fotmob.com for the amount of duels, you know, like which team won the battle of the duels, right? How many times in those 12 matches would you say that Liverpool won more duels than our opponents, including Plymouth? From Plymouth to Fulham, how many out of 12 do you think Liverpool have?
I would say, looking at it and the way it feels, I would say half.
Half, okay. Douglas, what about you? What would you say? How many out of 12 have we edged in terms of the duels won, or, you know, beaten the other team in terms of just the duels won, just the combative side of the game?
I'll say less than half. I would probably say 3, maybe 2 or 3.
0. It's an incredible stat. We have lost the duel count in each of the last 12 matches.
My God.
Which is and our actual record in terms of wins, draws, and losses is that we've won 6, drawn 2, and lost 4,
Yeah.
which is it's not horrendous, but this is a glaring error and a glaring problem in maybe it's management. I'd like to go to Douglas and see what you think about this, because I think it's more a squad planning thing, Douglas, and in terms of rotation, because I think a lot of the players look cooked. And yes, it's bad management in terms of keep picking the cooked players, but I think it's more a squad management thing and squad depth thing, and it's something that we clearly need to rotate more, but we need more ball busters, Douglas.
Yeah, I think for the first time this season, obviously Slot got it wrong today. I think the team he should have played. Now, bearing in mind, obviously, like Diaz, I didn't see any reason for him to be dropped today. Because I thought he was probably our best player against Everton.
Totally agree. He was man of the match against Everton, 100%.
Yeah, I think when you look at that as well, look, it's nice to see Gakpo start. Let's say that it's great to see him back. I thought he was okay today. I know he obviously had Castagna there. I think he did an okay job there, but the one really glaring thing to me is we have ran Gravenberch to the ground. We need to, we need next season to basically get somebody in so we don't play Gravenberch every single game. Look, Gravenberch has been absolutely amazing this season. He is really transformed into a very, very good player. And, I think that is definitely down to Slot there. But I think our glaring thing there is we haven't got anybody really to come in. Slot really doesn't fancy, obviously, Endo starting games, which I totally understand as well. I think the one thing I can say about Slot is sort of in-style management and in management changes this season has been great. Today, and the last couple of games, I think you're kind of seeing he's maybe making changes too soon, maybe making changes too late, etc. And I don't think he's utilising the squad as much now. He needs to utilise the squad. Elliott should be playing more games. I think Chiesa should be playing more games. Chiesa did more today than Darwin Núñez has done in the last couple of games. It's as simple as that. And I think when you've seen the changes come on the day, Harvey Elliott completely changed the game for me because I allowed Mo to sort of go into a more central role, and that was basically where he got his chance for hitting the bar. And I thought Diaz changed the game very, very well when he came on. Great goal as well, I've got to say. Great play from him and Bradley, and a lovely finish into the low past Leno, who was getting on my tits. Let me just say, with the amount of time wasting that he was doing, but that's not an excuse anyway. But what I will say to that as well, it's great to see Bradley back. I don't think Curtis Jones is a right back. Simple as look, Curtis Jones was fantastic against Everton, a right back, but I think now the fact that Bradley's coming back, I think will really, really help us. I think it will really help Mo as well. But next game, I want to see more changes. I want to see Elliott come in. I want to see Chiesa come in. Maybe Núñez. Maybe just to freshen it up a little bit. Maybe Tsimikas for Robbo. Maybe obviously we hope that he's back. Alisson for Kelleher. So freshen up next game. I think that's the one thing. If we freshen it up, then that'll be very, very good because Fulham made 5 changes from the game against Arsenal and they looked really, really fresh. So if we can make some changes into the game against West Ham, I think we'll be fine. But I think the fact that Bradley is coming back is absolutely massive and it will help Kanati out more and it will help Mo out more.
And yeah, being able to push Curtis back into midfield will help the team. It should. But this is possibly a positive, or at least the silver lining in the cloud of going out of the other cups and the other competitions, Faye, is that these players who look very leggy, like Gravenberg, like especially Soboslai, to me, he was the worst culprit today. In my opinion, I'll bring up some stats about who managed to complete which passes. Hang on a moment. So Soboslai was 78.6% passing accuracy. He had 2 shots, no key passes. And when you're playing as a number 10, I think we need more from our number 10. I would definitely start Harvey Elliott there in Soboslai's position. But having a week off means that hopefully we can, the theory is we can energize the batteries so that, maybe they'll be a lot fitter next week against West
I don't
Ham.
think always it's to do with that, though, Owen. I really don't. I think I'm one of those players that go on momentum, because that's what players want. They want to play. They, yes, if you use your squad properly, you should be able to play 2-3 games a week. If you use your squad properly, like Doug said, let's use Núñez more. Núñez can run all day. He's one of the fittest players out there. He doesn't get a lot. He always comes on like 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 30 minutes max at the end of the game. So he must be, God, his season hasn't even started, Núñez. So why isn't he getting more time? I know, we say that he missed the easy chances, whatever, but he's an instinctive player. And I believe that if he gets more play time, someone like Núñez, he's all about confidence. Núñez, he's one of those players that needs his bumps rubbed, and he could be prolific. He did it in his other teams. He's just not done it for Liverpool.
Have you not given up on him though? Because I think
I haven't.
I think a lot of fans have, and I get the feeling Darwin's given up on himself with his body language.
I haven't given up on him, because like I said, when you look at the goals he scores, they're all instinctive goals. They're goals where he doesn't have to think about it; he just does it. So that tells me he's quite a gifted player. It's just that we haven't seen the best out of him yet, and he might not even get that chance. Sadly, by summer he might be gone somewhere else. But I just going back to the cup games, I don't think, I don't know, can you remember the season when we played all the youngsters?
I don't remember which season it was, but I remember
it was only 2 seasons ago. Doug might be able to remind us. And we had all the youngsters, and we won the League Cup. We won the We were there. We were, we were even going for the Bremen title as well that season.
Yeah, that was 2022, was it? When we almost got the quadruple. But that's it. But not to get it confused with the Carling Cup final last year, which was the one with James McConnell on the pitch and Bobby Clark and all that. When that was the real kids. But
yes, that was the real. But the season before, we had kids in it as well. So what I'm saying is, I think clubs like Liverpool, they don't like playing a week, rest a week on. They just want to play. I just think that Liverpool's the type of team, with the squad we've got, the players just like to come in and play. They don't want to be sitting around. I don't think it benefits players like Van Dijk, particularly. Van Dijk was pretty wobbly, like I said today, and you just don't see that normally. Their focus has gone.
He had the air shot against Everton as well, which I've never seen before. The wild swing and a miss. And I wonder, staying with you, Faye, for a moment, I'll ask Douglas about this as well, but in terms of a centre-back pairing, they looked pretty solid, apart from that one move where they both made massive mistakes against Beto the other day, against Everton. But today, they were really bullied by Núñez, who he's someone I talked about in our pre-match podcast, because I did identify him as a danger. I mean, he's played 833 minutes in the Premier League this season, only 833 minutes, so less than 10 games. He's got 7 goals and 1 assist and I think he's a great talent. He's 23 years old. He's about to turn 24 on May the 4th. And he's a good player. He's a really good player. But the ease, Faye, in which he bullied Van Dijk and Konate today is getting a bit a bit worrying? Is that just like, perhaps it's just nerves though, Faye? It's just nerves. The players are as nervous as we are. Ronnie Whelan in LFC TV post-match, he said, he's won the league 6 times, and it's very difficult at this stage to get over the line because you feel the pressure a lot more. Maybe it's just that, Faye, or is there a more overall problem?
Yeah, well, I think it's that, and the fact that we don't know what's going on behind the scenes with Van Dijk. Remember, he might know something. Well, he does know something we don't know. That could be on his mind. We just don't know. Salah, the last few games hasn't been Salah for me. I don't know if he even had a shot on target.
More than that.
Did he have a shot on target? I don't even think he had a shot on target today, Salah.
It's the last seven or 8 games for me that he hasn't been performing well. But I want to stick with. I want to ask Douglas about this our centre back pairing specifically, and we will talk about Salah. And we will talk about the contract soon. It's a very good point. It might be the contracts that's weighing on Virgil's mind. But Douglas, what do you put it down to? This the way in which Muniz was able to best them both today.
I don't think Van Dijk can really sort of deal with a really physical striker. We've seen in the Goodison game earlier in the season that him and Kanai were bullied by Beto. As you said on midweek as well, I think they had a good game together with Beto, but barring that one mistake where obviously Beto hit the post, I think they were very, very solid. But today, I don't know what it is. Kanate for me, he has these moments where he has one good game and then has one really, really bad game. But I think today took the biscuit, because I think he had his worst game in a Liverpool shirt for me. The way that he started the game, and as well, Virgil did actually bail him out a couple of times as well. But I think what's happened is again for fatigue, because I think you look at Van Dijk. I think he had to play 120 minutes for Holland against Spain in that ridiculous Nations League. And I think as well. You look at the like Alisson coming back as well. Like he's having to obviously he filled the concussion protocols on the Everton game, and then obviously today again. You wonder how sort of serious that injury is, because he must have had a big whack if he's obviously missed 2 games, because of obviously
it was huge. I saw the replay. It's on Reddit if anyone wants to find it. He got absolutely whacked. It was horrible. One of those clashes of heads where you're like, oh, you can barely look at the screen. It's just horrendous. But I mean, obviously he's been on Instagram and stuff and saying how he feels fine, and that's great. But it was a massive impact. Faye, you want us to come in there?
Yeah, going back on the pairing of Van Dijk and Kanate, I wonder if today particularly he was concerned about Curtis Jones, because Curtis Jones was playing on his side, where on Van Dijk knows exactly what he's getting from Robbo normally. But I think one of the points of one of the goals, Kanate actually turned his back, which allowed the ball to drop in when he could have headed it, because he was facing the wrong way, giving instructions to Curtis Jones. Now, he knows that Curtin Jones, that's a new role for him. So I wonder if Kanate, in the back of his mind, he kept worrying if Curtis Jones was in position rather than worrying about what he should be doing. Because normally he knows what he can expect from Trent. You know what Trent's going to give you out there. He's either going to not be able to eat with the player, and then Kanate knows he's got a cover, or he's just going to get that ball and play it down the line. So I think with Kanate, like Doug's saying, he had a dreadful game. I think his main worry today was worrying about
Curtis next to him,
because Session scored his goal because of Kanate. Because if Kanate had cleared it, headed it over, whatever, he would never have got that goal. And I think personally that's what happened today.
And he got a nudge from Muniz, and it's one of those ones where You know, that's the thing. It's like, well, I mean, the sort of easy way to thing you could say to Ibou in that case is like, well, you should be stronger. But in his opinion, in his defense and in my opinion, there are two ways of refereeing the game, one for big lads and one for shorter lads. Like, for example, there was an incident with Gakpo and Castagna where Gakpo did slightly push him in the back with his shoulder, and Castagna got the foul from the referee. And it was a slight push in the back. Because it was a push in the back, and Castagna is a small lad compared to Ibou, who they're just in a physical fight all the time. And the referee's like, well, you should be stronger. There's no consistency there, which is a bit frustrating. But no, it's a very good point. I mean, I think that might have been on Ibou's mind, is having to cover for Curtis, tell him where to go. What do you reckon, Douglas?
Yeah, I was just going to say as well that, you know, I thought Curtis Jones did really, really well against Mykolenko the other night. I think Mykolenko couldn't get past Curtis Jones in that game. I think today, though, when you look at Castagna on the right, and probably for me, one of the left backs of the season, and Anthony Robinson, there was always going to be that fear of, pace really beating a player who doesn't really, play at right back. And I think today he did struggle. I think he did struggle with Anthony Robinson, because look, Anthony Robinson for me, I've seen a lot of people suggest he could be the player to maybe come in next season, but I think you've got to be very, very wary of the fact that he is, I think, 28, 29. So again, it's that
everybody
sort of,
thinks that, but he's actually 27. He's got
is he 27?
Yeah, he's only 27. Gives you food for thought.
Gives us food for thought, yeah. But yeah, I thought today Curtis definitely struggled with Anthony Robinson. I think you've got to give credit to Marco Silva for the way he set out his team to attack us, and I think as well, I was quite surprised to actually see Muniz in the starting 11. I thought he would have played Raul Jimenez instead. But no, fair play to Fulham, and I think Castagna and Robinson won't have an easier day at the office, because I think Robbo and Curtis really struggled to contain with Castagna and obviously Robinson on the right hand side, because I think when you look at I think that's what we really, really struggle with is actually PC sort of left back, right back. I do think we do seem to tend to struggle there, especially with obviously a makeshift Curtis Jones at right back as well. I always had a feeling today that we might struggle with Anthony Robinson. I've been keeping a close eye on Anthony Robinson this season as well, and obviously Castagna as well. I remember him in that really poor Leicester side that went down, but he seems to have found a new lease of life at right back. And then obviously you look at their bench today. They're bringing on Kenny Tete, another really good right back as well. So I do feel that we did struggle to contain with their fullbacks, most definitely.
It's a really good answer, but you're right to praise Marco Silva. I'm trying to find. I can't find the actual lineup from his first game in the Championship when he took over in the summer of 2021. I know that he signed Harry Wilson, and Harry Wilson scored on his debut, and it was a 1-1 draw. In Marco Silva's first game in charge of Fulham, but to take them from that Championship team to the position where they're in now, where they're fighting for Europe after this result, it keeps their hopes alive for European competition. They've got strength in depth. I mean, Muniz coming off and Raul Jimenez coming on, for example. They've just got useful players everywhere, useful players on the bench. I thought Harrison Reed is a very decent player to come off the bench, and Alex Iwobi getting a tune, more than a tune, a beautiful melody from Alex Iwobi, who is a player who looked destined to always be Evertoned in his career, but he's found his feet, and he's an excellent player at Fulham. So yeah, credit to Marco Silva. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what more to say about today. I mean, we've spoken about the duels. We've spoken about how it's a little bit, it's making us a little bit edgy to see us getting bullied so often. I thought Sander Berger was excellent in midfield for Fulham. He was combative and big, and his passing was excellent. And it's just there's just, I don't know. I tuned into the combative nature of the game. That's how I watch the football. As one of the things that I just naturally am tuned into, like who's winning these duels. And yeah, we were out muscled in the entire game. But in terms of like general feeling, Faye, we've spoken a few times this season where you're like, well, I'm not going to count my chickens. How nervous are you out of 10 that we can actually screw this up from an 11-point lead?
Oh, we won't screw it up. I'm confident we're going to win the league now because sadly for the others, they're not playing well at all either. City and Arsenal, what they drew yesterday, they could have had 2 more points and they could have been closer to us, but they're all thinking about Champions League or FA Cup finals or whatever they're thinking of. But we now know, and that's the problem with us. We are a bit complacent, aren't we, at the moment, because we just, the 11 points, we should be able to just draw a couple and win a couple. We need to go out there and just play as if we need to win. We need to be thinking that we are playing Man City as 2 points above us and we just need to get the win. But we're not playing like that at the minute. We're playing at a very casual level. There's no intensity. That's the word I want to use at the moment. No intensity to the Liverpool team at the moment. We're looking lethargic in places.
I totally agree. I could not agree more. It's and that's the frustrating thing. And you would hope that the players would know that and be talking about that, and Arne Slot as well. We know that he's been rollicking the players a few times this season when he sees necessary, and perhaps that's what they need. But you're very confident, Faye. I mean, this is like, the supercomputer they have at Opta, which I don't know, maybe it's some kind of expensive laptop, who knows, says that, it's a 99% chance that Liverpool will win the league. Do you agree with?
Because I mean, at the end, I know people keep saying, like, when we speak to Spider and them that are on, they say one game at a time. But let's be honest, you do have to look ahead a little bit because at the end of the day, you need to know what's coming up to be able to plan for that. And West Ham are never easy. They're safe at the moment, aren't they, West Ham? Let's put it this way. They're not going to get relegated. Leicester, I think they're goners. They might give us a bit of a battle at the King Power. They might try and go for it, but I think they're doomed. And then the next one after that is the Spurs game. And Spurs, again, they're not really saying anything, so we should win that. So I think at the next 3 games, I think I can see us definitely getting at least 6 to 7 points. Yeah.
I think that would do it, I think that's going to be enough to win the league, just 6 or 7 points from where we are now.
Absolutely.
Because, that would take us to 79 or 80 points. And Arsenal, they're just not looking.
Well, they're not worried at the minute, are they? Look at the team that Arteta put out yesterday. That was deliberate. He was saving Saka. He was saving his big. Declan Rice didn't play unless he was injured. He now knows that he's got to go for the Champions League. And the league, let's face it, he knows he's coming probably second and he's going for the Champions League. He's going to go all out for that. And it's exactly what he should be doing because he can't get any worse for him. There's nobody. Man City they're 10 points behind Arsenal. So even if Arteta wins 4 more matches, I think that's enough for him to be in Europe guaranteed. So I would think it's the Champions League for Arsenal and those teams that are going for cups, because there's quite a few teams in the top 6 that have, Aston Villa have still got a cup to go for. There's a few of them that are battling for. Man City are going for FA Cup. They've all got, they want to get into Champions League, but also they just need a cup. Because like someone said, if Man City gets to the qualify for Champions League and get a cup, that's a great season.
It's not bad at all. But I mean, they're on 52 points, as you said, 10 points behind Arsenal, 21 points behind us, but they're only 1 point ahead of Villa and 2 points ahead of Newcastle, who have 2 games in hand. So Newcastle could quite conceivably push Man City into 6th place, and they don't qualify for the Champions League, and that would be hilarious.
Well, that would be.
Douglas, you wanted to come in there?
Yeah, I think everyone's been totally in agreement with Arsenal. I watched that game against Everton yesterday. Did anyone notice David Raya diving before Ndiaye basically hit that ball yesterday?
Oh, did he do it again? Because I missed the game entirely. I had a lovely day. I had a day off parenting, so I went to Paris to see some friends, and I spent because I was planning this day off, and I spent hours and hours and hours of my life finding the best ramen restaurant in Paris, and I went there. It was amazing. So I was eating the best ramen, and I completely forgot about the game because I just thought Arsenal would win and Everton would never do us a favour. But he did it again, because he has a habit of that, David Raya, doesn't he? He sort of, the player's running up and he's already, halfway to the tube station.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that's noticed, because he's done that a couple of times this season. Like, whenever someone's taken a penalty against David Raya, he always seems to dive almost as soon as the guy comes up to hit the ball, or before he hits the ball. It's such a weird technique. But no, I think you look at the Arsenal team yesterday. They had I think it was Raya, Lewis Skelly, Kiwior, Saliba. Ben White got a game, actually. Ben White was back in that team, and then obviously you had you had Jorginho, you had who else did you have? You had Declan Rice.
Declan Rice, Mikel Merino.
You had
Sterling, Trossard, and
Sterling, Trossard. So you're looking at that Arsenal team, and I think many people said Arteta is definitely going one eye on Real Madrid, and I think as well, that's 94.58 minutes of my life I'm never getting back from that Manchester derby. One of the worst Manchester derbies I have ever seen.
Oh man, I was making homemade chips, and I sort of had half an eye on it, and then I just switched it off and listened to a podcast instead about what was it about? Oh yeah, some spy stories from the Second World War. Instead of that, because it was dog awful match.
It was dreadful. It was absolutely dreadful. So watching those two today. I think they're going to take a bit of time to get coming back. Manchester United look as poor as I've ever seen them. Man City just look like they're just wanting the end of the season now to regroup. Obviously, the Kevin De Bruyne has obviously retired, leaving Manchester City. Look, I've already had my say in Kevin De Bruyne. I think he's been one of the best midfielders that I've seen in the Premier League. I think he's been absolutely outstanding. It's such a shame as well that he's he is a Liverpool fan, so it's quite disappointing to see him in a Manchester City shirt. So you imagine him in a team that had Mane, Salah, Firmino, and having Kevin De Bruyne playing all these through balls would have been Firmino, Salah, and Mane dream, to say the very, very least. But no, look. As of the title picture, I'm confident we'll get this done. West Ham on next Sunday. We've scored 10 goals past them this season. We've scored 5 against them in the league. We scored 5 of them against them in the cup. So I think we probably look always a weary game with them, because obviously they have they've got threats with obviously Jared Bowen. I'd even say Nicholas Fulkrug now, that we were talking about obviously Muniz being very, very physical with Van Dijk and Kanate. They're going to face Fulkrug next week. That's going to be a very, very difficult battle for them as well. Leicester are absolutely woeful. I know a lot of Leicester fans from obviously collabing with them. They are absolutely pessimistic. They've got 737 minutes without a Premier League goal.
Goodness.
And they're just losing game after game after game. So yeah, Easter Sunday should be a very, very good game. And I think when you look at that Leicester side, it's anything but quality. Jamie Vardy certainly doesn't have the legs anymore. I think when we look at it, I think the 3 games you would want after a defeat: West Ham at home, nothing to play for, they're going to be safe. Leicester away, they're going to be going down very, very soon. I think it's only a matter of when now, not if they go down. And then Spurs, who, if I'm being honest, from them playing against Eintracht Frankfurt midweek, I would be absolutely amazed if they get through that Frankfurt tie, because I think Frankfurt will beat them home and away. So
Wow.
I think I look at these next 3 games, and I'm almost certain we beat West Ham. I think we beat Leicester. And then I think against Tottenham, I think that could be the game that seals it for me, is a Tottenham game, because Arsenal haven't won 3 games in a row all season. I think many people need to remember that. Their next 3: Brentford at home, Ipswich away. You probably expect them to beat Ipswich. Then it's the Crystal Palace game on the 23rd of April. That's obviously been brought forward because of obviously Palace's participation in the FA Cup semi-final against Aston Villa. So that game's had to be brought ahead as well. So I think these next 3 games between ourselves and Arsenal are very, very key. And I think we've both got winnable games in the Easter Sunday, Easter fixtures. I honestly think Brentford could go to Arsenal and probably get something. And then Crystal Palace are in very, very good form at the moment. Beat a very good Brighton side yesterday, albeit with 9 men as well. I think Nketiah and Guehi got sent off. So I think it's looking good. I think it is looking good, and as long as we do our job. Now I know there's loads of people say 1 game at a time, etc. But I think you've just got to be looking at those 3 games: West Ham at home, Leicester away, Spurs home. We get 9 points out of them. It's done.
I mean, I'm tempted to say we only need 1 more win. If we get 1 more win, we're on 76 points. Possibly still 11 ahead of Arsenal, whatever, but we're on 76 points, meaning that Arsenal need 15 points from the last 7 matches, 5 wins, and I don't know if they're going to do that. I really don't. The way that they're playing,
they can get to 84 points if they win all their remaining games, which I don't think they get to. Even if they drew
5 out of 7, I'm saying is unrealistic for me. I don't know. At the moment, they've drawn 3 of their last 5. You're absolutely right. You're taking my next trivia question away from me because of your excellent knowledge of the Premier League, Doug, because you're talking about what brilliant form Crystal Palace are in. They are actually, even though they're in 11th place, they are the form team in the Premier League in the last 5 matches. They've won 4 and drawn 1, and that's the best in the league in terms of the form table. Crystal Palace are at the top, which is quite interesting. And also another little quirk of this weekend's matches is that it's the first time that none of the top 5 have won in a single match weekend since 2013, apparently, the last time that happened. So going around the grounds, around the other teams, we just seem to be just better than them. So that's great. Long may it continue. One thing to talk about then are the contracts going forward, because I'm worried about Mo Salah. Going back to today's game, and Liverpool, Faye. I'm worried about Mo. We mentioned before how he isn't playing very well. I can't remember the last time he scored an open play goal, but that's not surprising because my memory is absolutely horrendous.
No,
I remember the ramen yesterday, but I don't remember much else.
Well, the thing is, I was at Wembley, like I said, and again, didn't even have a kick. That, and that's Wembley, and Mo likes Wembley. Mo hasn't been playing well for the last 5-6 games, like you said. I mean, he's going to get the top scorer because he's on 27 and Haaland isn't going to be playing anymore. So I can't see Isaac catching him. He might get 7 more goals, a couple of hat-tricks, Isaac, I suppose. But Mo's probably got the golden boot already. So, again, he's probably a little bit complacent himself, maybe knowing that. But he's just not looked right, Mo. I don't know. I mean, he's putting the crosses in because his assists is up there with the assists as well. We keep forgetting he's one of the top assists in
He's the top.
Yeah, in the Prem. So he's doing that as well, but he doesn't look a threat. And even when he's looking to take players on, which I've noticed in the last 3 to 4 games, he's losing the ball. The opposition are getting the ball off him. So I know I put it down to, I think, talking with friends. They've just finished fasting, Id. So, and that's a long period that goes on for a whole month. So the thing is, has that affected him? Probably.
Well, I had an actual, I had a dive into that theory.
Right.
I looked at all of his stats over each Ramadan period since he joined Liverpool in the last 8 years. And it turns out it doesn't affect him. And it also didn't affect Sadio Mane, of course, another good Muslim player. It didn't affect their output at all, really. I mean, I understand the theory that maybe it did affect him, but you can't actually put it down to Ramadan.
But this is the first year, though, with that he's at. I mean, I know you're saying you've looked back on it. However, this is the first year ever that he's out of contract.
Well, I think that might be the main reason, as opposed to Ramadan, is the fact that he's getting older.
Yeah,
he's getting older, and that's the thing. It's like, 17 assists, I think, this season in the Premier League, which is crazy.
Which is incredible.
The next is Bukayo Saka with 11, I think.
Yeah. So again, Mo will win that, but I think we don't know how that's affecting the team with Salah, with the contracts, with Van Dijk and Trent. People have said he's on his way, so good luck to him. But Mo and Van Dijk, I feel that it's. I don't know why they're treating the fans this way, Liverpool. We should know. We should know by now.
I think it's complicated, though. I really do. Like, I've been saying all season that I'd love all 3 of them to sign, even though Trent was always the most unrealistic for me. But then there were 2 of them, and I was like, well, I'd love Mo and Virgil to sign. But now I'm beginning to see a potential wisdom in, as crazy as it sounds, letting Mo Salah go.
For 0?
Well, not that obviously I'd prefer to get a
2 years ago he was worth 100 million. 2 years ago.
Say, yeah.
So why didn't they re-sign him then? This is what I'm trying to say. See, what
that was a mistake. We've got to this situation. Yes,
this is what I'm talking about. Well, it's too late now. We're not going to get a penny for any of them if they go. But what I'm saying is, 2 years ago, surely again the board should have said, "We're signing you for the next 3 more years." That way.
But maybe they thought that in 2 years he's going to be 32, going on 33. I think his birthday's in the summer. So he's going to be 33 at the start of next season. And when players fall off cliffs, especially attacking players, they really fall off a cliff, and it's quite sudden. And it could all be part of a sort of financial-based strategy, because their combined contracts works out to something ridiculous like 40 million a year for those 3 players. And if you get, and also it's got a massive impact on the rest of the team. Like, for example, Konate, there were rumours of him going to PSG. Maybe he's unhappy with his contract. Luis Diaz, likewise, unhappy with his contract because their teammates are getting 3 or 4 times what they're making, and they're doing.
But Salah still could have gone to another team regardless, even if he had signed for another 2 years and being 33. Someone would have come in now. He's top scorer. He's top scorer of the Prem. He's got 27 goals. So regardless of him being 33, there's someone would have had him.
That's true. That's
even if he'd gone across to Saudi Arabia or wherever, they would have bought him and we would have got something for him. I just don't understand it, Owen. And it's just not him, it's Van Dijk as well and Trent. 3 players. Do you think that might have been one of the reasons why Klopp left? Because there must have been something in it.
I don't know. I think Klopp left. I think he was honest that it was the stress. It was everything. But maybe the stress
of him not signing 3 players. Come on, we'll never know. But I think I just can't understand it. No one can understand it. You know, everyone's talking about it. You don't let your 3 best players run their contracts down to 0 and then you wave goodbye to them at the end of the season. You don't do that, do you? No one does that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, and I'm just trying to look at it from the club's point of view and say, well, right, they've, and perhaps this is how football's going. I mean, Mbappe left for free as well from PSG to Real Madrid, and he's, up there with the most highly valued players.
Everybody knew he was going there, didn't we? We all knew Mbappe was going there when he was at PSG. We knew he was going. That was the worst kept secret. But where Van Dijk, where's he going then? Where's Salah going? We know about Trent. He's going to Madrid. We don't know about the other 2. So what's happening with them? But this is obviously
what I want to know, though, Faye. What I want to know is how you feel about, for example, if for me, Virgil staying is absolutely key to me. Yep. I think he's irreplaceable. Mm-hmm. The other 2, I think we've already got the replacement in Conor Bradley for Trent. I love Conor Bradley. Different sort of player, of course, and I love Trent. And if he stayed, I would be delighted. But he's gone. We'll move on. We can replace a right back. Mm-hmm. Mo Salah, incredibly difficult to replace. But this current Mo Salah, would you be that sad if this current Mo Salah left in the summer?
Yeah, I would be, because he's top scorer of the Prem, and we're not talking about League One or the Championship, the Prem, and he's top assists. So his 17 contributions is one of the reasons why we're going to win the Prem. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah,
take 27 goals away, take away the 17 assists, we'd probably be 4th in the league. Yeah. And you'd pay, how much are we going to win? How much money do we get in the bag for winning the Prem?
Oh, I don't know, actually.
There you go, look. So
100 million, maybe. I don't know.
There you go. So Mo Salah is a vital piece of the jigsaw for Liverpool. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Douglas? You've been patiently listening to the 2 of us. What are your views on this? How you feel about potentially Mo leaving?
Well, I've been kind of resigned to the fact that Trent was going to go to Madrid. I think that's been definitely the worst kept secret, if I'm being honest. The other 2, Van Dijk and Salah, I've always had a feeling that both of them will stay. I don't actually know if they're literally waiting for the Trent deal to be done and then basically them be like announcing them both, because I think what they've probably done is probably wait until all the Trent stuff happens and then see what materializes after that. I don't know, but obviously I would be sad to see Mo go. I think he's been a talisman for us for a number of years. I think Van Dijk as well. I think that is the key one for me as well, because he definitely leads by example. I think as well he'll become the first Dutch captain, and I think Slot's the first Dutch manager to win the Premier League, which is quite something when you actually think of the managers that have actually been in the actually all the Dutchmen have actually been in the Premier League, like obviously your Dennis Bergkamps, as well. Obviously Van Nistelrooy, as well. But it's quite amazing to actually think that Van Dijk and Slot will be the first Dutchman to have as a captain a team and obviously manage a team to win the Premier League. It's quite incredible. So I mean, I'm kind of remaining calm about it, but I am with Faye in the fact that you shouldn't let your three best players go down to the final year of their contract and then basically wait and see what happens. But I'm just kind of hoping now it doesn't really affect the team morale at the moment, and I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I did a wee show earlier because I'm just trying to sort of test out my voice right before obviously coming on here, and I actually said that there was actually someone that asked me if I think it's going to be the start of a capitulation. Well, I don't think it will be, because I think when you look at our results this season, when we have had a bad result, we do seem to bounce back, and I'm pretty sure that we will bounce back from this defeat. And look, everyone was saying, "Oh, it would have been lovely to have an unbeaten away record." Screw that! It's the league I want. It's the creme de la creme of everything you want to win in English football. The Premier League is the one. Obviously barring the Champions League, of course, because that's definitely the creme de la creme of obviously European football. But when it comes to England, it's definitely the Premier League for me, always. And the fact is as well, to equal with Manchester United will be very, very fun to watch, because they won trophy after trophy after trophy after trophy, managed to overtake us. If you remember as well, 1918, you'll never see us come back when we've won 18. Well, we are back. That was one of the Manchester United banners from a couple of years ago. And obviously 1920, we managed to equal them then. Obviously sort of get one behind them in 19. So this season is all about obviously getting level with them, and then obviously next season we'll obviously be trying to get back on that perch, because obviously Fergie definitely brought United above us to put them back on their perch, if you want to say that as well. So it's always been the Prem for me. Always been the Prem for me. Nothing else. Anything else would have been a bonus. Like League Cup, it happens. It's a final. I think that's probably our worst performance in a League Cup final as well. Champions League, look, I think there's no basically guarantees of now finishing first in that new format. You get PSG. But look, whatever happens, I think you look at the contract situations. My gut feeling right now is obviously Trent is obviously gone. I think that's quite the safest thing to say. But for me, I think Virgil will stay. But I think what's going to happen is I think they'll wait until the end of the season and then speak to the club and then basically say, do you want to stay or do you want to go? Because I don't think they want to really interfere with the current playing at the moment as well. Just a bit like obviously Kevin De Bruyne announcing he's leaving during April, and obviously Thomas Muller as well. Isn't it going to be weird not actually seeing Kevin De Bruyne and Thomas Muller at Manchester City and Bayern Munich next season? We've all known obviously about Kevin De Bruyne being at Manchester City, and Thomas Muller I think is ending his 25-year spell with Bayern Munich, which is absolutely insane. So next season's transfer window is going to be very, very interesting, and I think a lot of money will be spent.
A lot of change. I mean, change is the only constant. I can't remember which Greek philosopher said that, but they were right. Change is the only constant. And in the Premier League, I mean, you're right. It's the one that I always prize above anything else. And actually quite significantly, I really want to get to 21 titles and reclaim our we're already, if you count the major trophies, bigger than United in terms of historically being the bigger team, but to categorically overtake them again in terms of league titles is really something very special. And going back to to spiral back to the beginning of this conversation, Faye, you were talking about that maybe you felt a little bit disappointed because you this team could have done more than just the league. but it's still fantastic to be on top of the Premier League, right?
Oh gosh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I'll be jumping up and down when we do, reach the points total that can't be caught. But I suppose it's difficult when you had four, and I hate the fact that we had four trophies. We did it the year before, didn't we? When we had four, the quadruple, we were going for it, and then we were just picked off one by one. I think we ended up with the double that season. I think we got the FA Cup and the League Cup. But yeah, the Prem is the one that we want, and because we won it during the pandemic, the last one, so that didn't seem the same because we had that big break in between, didn't we, where we were, I can't remember, 8-9 points ahead, and then we had the break because of COVID, and then we came back and we won it, but the fans didn't really get to celebrate it. The players did. They did their mini celebration at the hotel. We all watched that live, didn't we? But we didn't get to have the parade and, the accolades for the players as they deserve. So that this will be a historic moment, yeah, because this is going to be the first time that since the Premier League formed that we'll be out on a Hope and Top bus.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So it's historic, yeah. Absolutely. So
and there was
yeah,
a good point made about how it goes into next season as well, because when it was COVID and there were all kinds of lockdowns and then football came back, there were tons of restrictions, but just starting a season next season as the champions and the confidence that'll bring to us as well. We've just got to get the recruitment right. I mean, what kind of, before we finish, basically a last question for both of you. It's something that's been on my mind, is where would you like to see us strengthen, apart from obviously getting some players who are better at winning duels?
Well, I'd like, obviously, even if Mo stays, I still think that we probably need a out and out striker. That's my personal opinion. I think, in someone in the form of Isaac, oh my God, he would be incredible, wouldn't he? A proper number 9. He'd be, because I don't think Nunes is going to get that opportunity. And that's what I'm saying. Sadly for him, I don't think Slot trusts him enough. So he'd probably go and buy a number 9. And obviously, like we said, if we know Trent's going, but that's all very well saying we've got Bradley. But if Bradley gets injured, then we are stuck. So we probably need a right back and a left back as well. And like Doug said, we need someone to shore up the midfield with Gravenberch as well. Because McAllister's running around doing his bit, but we do need that area strengthened as well.
That's 4 players.
We forget the job that Wijnaldum did there, didn't we? He was incredible. He didn't get enough credit, Wijnaldum, did he?
That's very true. That's very true. But that's 4 players. Would you just get one midfielder? Because I think we need 2. But you'd be happy with one combative midfielder?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, okay. That's going to play. Yeah, there's pointless having them on the bench because yeah, absolutely.
4 players. I like it. I like it as an overview for the summer. What about you, Douglas? Would you agree with that? Would you add to it?
Left back, right back,
central midfielder,
and a striker. I would say a striker as well. I would even maybe look at another centre back. Because I don't think you can go into the season with Virgil, Konate. I don't think Kwanzaa will be there, if I'm being honest. I think he's probably going to be moved on, because I don't think Slot really fancies Kwanzaa as a centre back, and I kind of tend to agree. I don't think he's a right back. I don't think he's going to be a Liverpool centre back, unfortunately. I think the one thing with Arne Slot and his final transfer windows, he did let a lot of players did leave the club. So it could be a potential of that as well. And I think as well that the one thing I would say, and me and you had a chat about this obviously on my channel, and about obviously like players who would obviously keep and sell and obviously loan. I think most of the loan players, some of them will probably be moved on. Some will probably get more loans out as well. There's been obviously talk about potentially Ben Doak going over the over Stanley Park to Everton, which I think would be, if the rumours are that they are willing to offer 30 million, I would cash in. If I'm being honest, I know it's quite difficult to obviously say, but I think it's probably more quality over quantity. I think is the safest thing to say. So for me, definitely a right back, definitely a left back, 100% need a left back. Centre back, I would say as well. We can go into it with Virgil and Konate because both of them get their fair share of injuries. Obviously, not this season. Obviously, Van Dijk and Konate. I think as I said, Kwanzaa will be gone. Gomez, is he going to still be there? That's the main thing. I would even argue two midfielders. I think you've got to say, and probably if Diaz has moved on, then I think maybe another left winger, as long as it's not what's his face, Anthony Gordon. I'll be very very happy.
He hasn't won UEFA. I know you held that opinion earlier in this season, but he hasn't won UEFA with his performance. No. I think he's been good this year. No,
I think he has. I think he has been good, but it's sort of his output as well. I'm not so sure it's going to be good enough to be like a Liverpool winger. And obviously, like Faye says, Isaac is definitely the dream to get, but it's whether or not we spend the big bucks on Isaac. So we'll wait and see. But I've seen obviously other mentions. I think Jonathan David, I think, has been mentioned. We've obviously had Hugo Ekiteke. There's obviously Mateus Cunha as well, and obviously João Pedro. But I think it's going to be a very interesting summer, and I think the squad is going to be probably broken up, and it's probably the right time to do it.
Anthony Gordon has 6 goals and 5 assists in 2,108 Premier League minutes. So yeah, not that prolific, and he's also not that young. He's 24. So yes, you may be right there, Douglas. In terms of output, we can do a lot better. But yes, thank you very much for your thoughts on that, and thank you all very much, both of you, for your thoughts and the input into this conversation. It's been really nice speaking with you both. Do you have anything you would like to talk about? I do urge all of our sweet and wonderful listeners to check out the Dugout Football channel on YouTube. It's excellent stuff. Do either of you have anything you wish to talk about with what's coming up for you?
I'll just say very very quickly. I am planning bringing my Premier League, the Totally Premier League podcast back for the last remaining games of the season. So I'll be bringing them out. I've managed to get my audio issues sorted, thankfully. So yeah, I'm recording a podcast this week, so that should be out sometime this week.
Excellent stuff. I'll put a link in the description so you can subscribe to that. Great stuff. Faye, thank you very much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much, Anne and Doug. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been so nice speaking with you. Thank you. And there's not really much else for me to say other than we've got a week now to lick our wounds is the cliche, but for me it's about galvanizing the troops. It's about getting the massage going so that everyone's feeling relaxed first of all, and that's the key. I met one of the best French coaches who has coached absolutely everyone you see coming through. He was a big influence on Kylian Mbappe's career. He was a big influence on players like Saliba, and the list is endless with this guy, to be honest. And he was a student of mine, and he said the most important thing you can do is relax. So let's relax. You'll never walk alone. And we'll see you soon. Thank you for listening.